Okay, when we were learning our touch points in the classroom, there's one number that we didn't get to, and that's the number 10. So in this video, all of the problems we're going to solve today have the number 10 in it. And just in case you didn't watch the last video, in the first couple problems, I'm going to give you some examples, 2 different strategies on how you can solve adding the number 10 to different problems. So let's get started. Over here we have 10 plus 1. So in this problem we have the numbers stacked. So 1 is on top of the other. So you have the 10 on top of the 1. And when you stack it like this, you need to make sure that the numbers are nice and organized. So this is the ones column and this is called the tens column. So over here in the ones column you have a 0 and then you have the number 1. So we're going to add these numbers together first. So we're always going to start over in the ones column. So what is 0 plus 1? It's 1. So we're going to write that down below. Now we're not finished yet. There's not a number here, and so you can even add a 0 there if it helps you. You don't have to. You can leave it blank if you want to, but if it helps you, you can add a 0. Because now we're going to start adding the numbers that are in this tens column. So we have 1 plus, and now there's a 0 there. So what is 1 plus 0? It's 1. So when we have 10 plus 1, what does the answer equal? 11. Now here's a different way we can set it up. Another way is we can do it how we solve our other touch point problems. So we can circle the big number, and we can add touch points to the smaller number, and then we can count up from there. So go ahead and point to the bigger number and say it, 10, and then we're going to add 1. So counting up from 10, 11. So do you see that no matter which way you solve it, whether you stack it or do it side by side, you're still going to get the same answer. So 10 plus 1 is always going to equal 11. Now let's try to use a couple different ways to solve 10 plus 3 now. So first we have it stacked on top of one another. So we have the 10 on top of the 3. And then we're going to make sure that we keep our answer in the ones column. So what is 0 plus 3? It is 3. And then over here, we can either leave it blank or we can add a little 0 there if it helps us remember. Because now you're going to start adding the numbers that are in this column. This is called the tens column. What is 1 plus 0? It's 1. So 10 plus 3 equals 13. Now we're going to solve it using the other strategy I showed you a moment ago. So you're going to circle the big number and then add touch points to that smaller number, and then we'll point to the big number and say it. So 10 and then 11, 12, 13. So we need our 1 and then our 3. Okay, let's move on down here. We have 10 plus 6 and the equal sign. So for this one, since it's already stacked, we can just keep it lined up like this. So 0 plus 6. What's the answer to that? 6. And then you can add a 0 there if you'd like, or you can leave it blank. What is 1 plus 0? 1. So then if we have 10 plus 6, it equals 16. Now you know what? It's a little messy, but I don't normally write with this hand. Normally I use this hand, so it's a little messy, but thank you for being understanding. Let's come on over to this now. So over here we have 10 plus 8 and then the equal sign. So we're going to circle that big number. We'll add touch points to this smaller number. So we're going to do 4 chocolates, and then we also have to add 4 vanillas. And our 8's going to look pretty silly, but that's okay if it looks silly because it's going to make it easy for us to add on. So point to that bigger number and say it, 10, and then let's add on, count up. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. How do I write 18? A 1 and then an I'll do a snowman 8 this time. Okay, there's a few more problems up here. Over here we have the 10 plus 4. So we're going to keep our number, our answer, lined up over here when we start adding, because we're going to start with this ones column. So what is 0 plus 4? It's 4. You know what? I think I am going to switch hands. 4. And then remember, you can add a little 0 here if it helps you, because now we're going to start adding on the tens column. So 1 plus 0 equals 1. So 10 plus 4 equals 14. Let's come on over to here now. Let's circle the big number, add touch points to the smaller number, point to it and say it. So 10, 11, and then 12. So 10 plus 2 equals 12. All right, we have, oh, I missed one problem earlier. Whoopsies. I was going to say we have one more problem. There's actually 2. I'm glad I noticed, so I have to learn from my mistake. Let's go back. So we're going to circle this big number. So we have 10 plus 7. So let's circle that 10. And then we're going to add our touch points to the smaller number. Oh, I want that to be a chocolate. So 4 chocolates. And then we have 3 vanillas. 1, 2, and 3. So point to the bigger number and say it. So 10. And then we're going to count up. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 10 plus 7 equals 17. So a 1 and then a 7. Now we have one more problem left. So since it's stacked, we're going to keep it stacked like that, and we're going to start with the ones column. What is 0 plus 9? It equals 9. Okay, now remember, you can add a 0 or you can leave it blank. I had been adding the 0, so this time I'm just going to leave it blank. So 1 plus 0, or nothing because there's nothing there, what is it? 1 plus 0. It equals 1. So when we have 10 plus 9, it equals 19. All right, I hope that you've learned something today. If it was tricky for you to add using the number 10, that's okay. We'll keep practicing. I did a lot of talking today, so next time when we do this, I'm gonna let you do a lot more of the work, but today, since it's the first time going over this, I had to do a lot of the talking. But I do hope that you learned something new. We'll keep practicing until it gets easier. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.